Hi guys, I have a small little unhaul for you today. I've been meaning to get rid of these books for ages, but I never got around to it, and now that everything is still closed, I still can't get rid of them. So they've just been sitting around like on my floor for months, actual months. Once I'm able to get rid of them, I definitely will, but before that I thought it might be a little bit interesting to you to see which books I want to get rid of from my collection. The first book I am donating is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I hate this book a lot. It took me forever to get through this. This is always described as Harry Potter for adults because it's about some kids going to a magical school and learning magic, but I really did not like this. I hated all of the characters. A lot of people say they aren't very likable characters, and they're definitely not. The problem is if I don't like the character, I don't like following their story, especially when they got on my nerves as much as these ones did. And then the story itself, the plot is so slow. It moves so slowly, and I was so bored through so much of it. And it's just following these annoying characters who do terrible things and are just like really awful to follow through a very slow moving story where nothing's happening. And it's like torture. It was actual torture. So I am not planning to continue the series. I don't even want to have this book on my shelf because it brings back a lot of painful memories. So I am definitely getting rid of this. I know a lot of people say it gets better in the next couple books, but I do not have the patience to go through and read those. This is also the series tie-in cover. I'm not really someone who cares too much about like movie covers or tie-in covers, so it's not that reason that's making me get rid of this book. It's just that I actually just hate the book. The next book I'm getting rid of is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. This is a YA contemporary about a girl who thinks she has her whole life planned out, and then everything gets turned on its head and she ends up spending the summer as a dog walker. For the most part, this was fun and cute and enjoyable. It's a really light, fluffy read, something that was perfect for the summertime when I was feeling in the mood for it. But I definitely think it should have ended sooner than it did. I feel like there was like a good point for the book to end, and then it just kept going for another like 100 pages that I thought were pretty much useless. And in addition to that, it's not really something I feel super tied to. I don't even remember really anything from this book. It's not something that I would revisit and reread because contemporary YA just isn't really my thing in general. So I didn't really feel the need to have this on my shelves. These next books should come as no surprise if you've watched any of my videos. That's The Well-Tempered Clavicle by Piers Anthony, Luck of the Draw by Piers Anthony, and Esrever Doom by Piers Anthony. I had such an ordeal reading this book last year, or trying to read it last year. I DNF'd this after like 45 pages because I hated it so very much. These books are all part of the Xanth series, which I really loved as a kid. They were what got me into fantasy for the most part, and I just really enjoyed the world. It's a world built on puns and magic, and it was so much fun. But this series is very long. This is like the 38th book or something, and I had read all of them up to that point. And when I eventually wanted to go back and catch up on the books that had been published recently, because the guy is still writing, he started the series in like the 80s and he's still writing books. But when I went back to this book to try it again, I was so annoyed. I was disappointed and so frustrated. These books are very formulaic. I knew that going into it, that it's basically the same formula every single book where there's a problem and then the person goes to find the magician Humphrey and they send them on a quest. And they sort of, in a roundabout way, get what they were looking for, the answer to their question. But what made it really fun was exploring the world and learning about all these different characters, because this series follows through generations and you get to see like the kids of people from the previous books, and it keeps going. There's like grandkids and great-grandkids in here. It's a long series. There are a lot of characters. But what was really annoying about this book was it was written so poorly. The writing was atrocious. And I know for a fact that it didn't all used to be like this. I read the first couple chapters of the first book again, and it's definitely written much better than this is. It just seems like the writing has deteriorated and he's run out of stories to tell, and yet he's still trying to tell stories and they end up being the same stories over and over again. Then there's a lot of really just sexist comments in here that I just didn't have the patience to deal with anymore. So as sad as it is, I decided I am not going to be continuing in the series. I'm going to preserve my fun memories of them from childhood and not continue on because they're not going to be good. I just know it. So I'm getting rid of all of these books because these are the next books in the series. I don't know what order they go in. They're like in the 40s already, so I'm just done. I'm done with Xanth, and I don't need them on my shelves because I was ready to throw this one across the room. I've gotten angry about that series in many videos, so go ahead and check those if you want more thoughts or more of just me yelling about this book, because there's a lot of it. And then the last book that I'm getting rid of is The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. It took me ages to read this because it's basically a textbook and it's massive. This is a retelling of King Arthur from the perspectives of the women in the story. So I ended up appreciating what this book was, but I don't know if I really enjoyed it. I liked being able to get more familiar with these characters and with the legend itself, but it also dragged on for a really long time, and I don't see myself ever coming back to this book to reread it, so I don't really need it on my shelves. I know there's also some issues around the author. I haven't looked into what they are exactly, but I just don't really feel like I need this book in the first place, so might as well just get rid of it. Plus this frees up so much more space on my shelves because this is huge. So those are all of the books I'm planning to get rid of once I am finally able to. I've read all of them. Oops. I've read all of them except for 2, so I don't really feel bad about it. I technically got my money's worth. And I know that these books just don't make me happy, so they don't need to stay in my collection. So that's it for now, and I will see you later. Bye.